Hi, everybody. I'm Jen. I'll be your storyteller for today. And before we get into a recap, I would like to introduce to you all of our players who are playing with us tonight in the Old Gods of Appalachia, a TTRPG. So, first, top of the order, Alex, please introduce yourself and your character.
Hey everybody, welcome. Thank you for joining us. I am Alex. I publish and perform as Lex Wilson. I use he, him pronouns, as does my character, Alistair Blake, whose friends call him Dare. Dare is a bread maker in the town of Timber. He is an unofficial labor activist, and after last week's episode, he might be the reason people yell timber to mean something big and deadly is about to come crashing down on all of us.
Very much so. Mal, please tell us who you are and what you do here.
I am Archangelic, aka Mal. My pronouns are she, her, and tonight I'm going to be playing Teresa Shaw, the superstitious sage who cannot escape the darkness, and overall afraid witch. So,
And Sarah, Sir Heckalot, please tell us who you are and what you're doing here.
Yeah, what am I doing here? Hey, everybody. It's me, Sir Heckler. I'm here. I'm on your screen. And I am back with Beatrice, who is the neighborly explorer who does what needs doing. She uses she, her pronouns. I use she, they pronouns. I don't know why I reversed the pointing on that, but I hope you heard correctly. I'm sorry for auditory processors. But yeah, no, I'm still recovering from watching last episode, and then, we need to figure out what the hell Jenny Brown wants from me.
Don't worry about it. Last but not least, Soliloquy, please tell us who you are, what you do here.
Hey friends, my name is Soliloquy or Jaden. I'll answer to either. I use they them pronouns. You can find me most places online as Fat Sapphic Bro. I'll be playing Jasper Joaquim Vicente, he they pronouns, who is a hardy protector who defends what matters. Also, I live in the Pacific Northwest and the allergens are terrible, so I'm not crying all session. I just have really bad allergies. But welcome back to our space here at Lantern Light Adventures. This is home to all of our TTRPG and related content on Twitch. All of our games are also uploaded to our Lantern Light Adventures YouTube channel. There's a link to our link tree in the chat right now that you can click. It'll take you to all of our various social media pages so you can follow us everywhere we are. If you want to keep up to date on everything we're doing, feel free to also join our Discord, which is linked in the chat. If you want to play with us or GM for us, fill out the TTRPG actual play interest form, which you can find linked in our link tree and in the chat. Once you fill out that form, I will email you back with our TTRPG consent form, and then we can match you with games from there. Thanks for joining us today for The Old Stories, The Breathing Mountain, our horror-themed Old Gods of Appalachia actual play. We'll be streaming this game most Wednesdays, 2 to 5 p.m. PST. Friendly reminder that this is a horror-themed game, so please care for yourselves as needed. As for where you can find us the rest of the week, on most Sundays from 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. PST, we stream Era of the Dragons, our D&D 5e actual play. On most Mondays from 5 to 7 p.m. PST, Archangelic, our lovely producer Polygeist, and myself have been streaming our playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3. If you'd like to play with us as a guest, reach out to me anytime. Otherwise, feel free to just come hang out with us while we play. Most Tuesdays from 6 to 9 p.m. PST, we stream An Empty Dream, our Girl by Moonlight actual play. We also record an audio aftercast or an audio cast after show for each of our games where we go over any necessary advancement steps and we debrief it from the game. You can listen to these for free on our Patreon at patreon.com/lanternlightadventures. All of these after shows will always be free, but we appreciate any contributions and support as it helps us continue to bring you awesome queer content. Starting this month, we will be taking the full last week of the month off every month instead of just the last Sunday of the month so that we can edit and prepare more content for y'all, as well as have a bit of a break to handle our day-to-day responsibilities. And finally, throughout this month, as a celebration of Pride, we're raising money alongside Pride Revolution in support of the Trans Empowerment Project. The link and information can be found in the chat. And in support of a free Palestine, we will be financially supporting a family through the Pass the Hat project. More information for that will be shared once we are assigned our family. Thanks so much. Back to you, Jen.
And thank you very much for all the announcements. Now, just to go over some context warnings for my table, just to remind them, as we are proceeding down a more treacherous path in this story, and content warnings for the audience as well. There will be mentions of gore, some dismemberments, swears, mostly in good humor. Darker horror elements include spaces and caves, so if that is not your cup of tea, that's perfectly fine. My table has chosen to be okay all of that, and I'm okay with letting them know about all of that. Now, where were we? The last time, in a effort to search for answers, you've kind of ventured out into the town of Timber, uh, seeking why the Crossroad Man is so entrenched within the town of Timber. Found a bit more about the apple orchard, about why they're so abundant in the odd time of spring. You also found out that there was a great and terrible deal that was struck some years ago. Upon talking with Silas, you find out that this deal was made by those who were unwilling to pay for it but had to pay for it. And in doing so, you leave his home and discover something encroaching upon his space and kind of seeking you out. An effort to either save him or you calls upon the Crossroads Man and makes a deal. That deal was a bit unsettling in the most kindest of ways. The Crossroad Man very much kept his deal, kept his bargain. He just wanted to make sure you knew that the deal previously years ago made for this town was made in blood, and he is taking his payment in blood, in kind. But he's going to honor it, whether you like it or not. And in an effort to try to correct this, maybe there were some thoughts of perhaps you can try to correct this, perhaps you can't, who knows? But the next morning, after the Crossroad Man has dragged out Silas's wife and God knows what happened to her, you find a bloody apron with 4 posts all around it with the name Beloved marked in each one except for the fifth that just says Freedom. There's some discussion around it the next day. Mr. McCavish makes a point to be seen and known by all of you, but shuffles away once you've kind of dismissed him out of hand. And that brings us to today. But we step back to Miss Jenny Brown knocking on Beatrice's door. Early in that morning, with fog, sky, dew, kissed mountains waiting for you to open that door, Miss Beatrice. And she's hollering down your door like there's no tomorrow.
Okay, but what is she hollering?
Beatrice, you open that door right now, missy. I have bone to pick with you.
Okay, well, that wasn't very specific. Okay, she just has a problem with me. But what's new? Um, okay. Yeah, no, Beatrice will open the door.
See,
And
Miss
what
Jenny
bone would
Brown.
that be?
She's Miss Jenny Brown standing there, old elderly lady, the shopkeeper that's kind of down the way, braid kind of flung over her shoulder, wearing her work clothes, hand on her hip, kind of eyeing you but down over her glasses. And she's like, mm-hmm. You've been walking with a man without an escort. I saw you.
I'm sorry. Did we she makes a point to look out either side of the door. Did we somehow time travel to the Dark Ages?
She gives you a look of down. Don't give me that, Miss Beatrice. You know the escorts are quiet here. You're a young lady and you're unmarried. She pushes past you into your house uninvited and goes to your kitchen to start making tea.
Okay.
Now, Miss Beatrice, I know a young lady like yourself is all exploratory and all that good stuff, which is fine. She turns to you. But we are a respectable town, Miss Beatrice. I don't want nobody else slandering your name, but good thing I was the only one that saw you that morning. He kind
Oh,
of makes
yeah,
that sound in the back of her
good
throat.
good thing. But I don't know, would you rather me just walk home in the dark by myself? Seems rather unsafe with everything going on in these parts.
Nothing unusual. You have your can of iron tin, right? You shake it at the cougars when they come at you. That's the rule. As she kind of makes tea for everybody and sets it down for you, makes one of herself, puts two sugars in hers, and kind of looks at you. Now, I know you're a worldly type, Miss Beatrice, and that's perfectly fine. But we got manners to upkeep here.
Well, I certainly thank you for the reminder. Definitely something I will keep in mind moving forward.
That's good. Now you come knock on my door if a man tries to escort you again. I can be your chaperone. You and him can do what you need to do, but I'll always be those 5 steps behind you. I don't want him to do anything fancy with you now. She sips her tea. It's sweet as she adds another sugar to it.
I mean, I can assure you that nothing of the sort happened. It's not even crossed my mind. I, I'm guessing it crossed yours if you come hollering down my door. But of
Mm-hmm. She nods, kind of almost in a judgmental manner, as one of her
course.
age would be
Hmm.
prone to. And she sips her tea and says, "No, Miss Beatrice," as she sets her cups down. "I could use some help in my shop today. Would you like to come help? I mean, your organization skills are talk of town."
Are they now?
She gives a wide smile. Uh-huh.
I would definitely trust you to know the talk of the town for sure. What occasion would you need an extra set of hands?
Well, I got stuck with a bunch of archives that they think my shop's part of the library now. You know, the library and the shop kind of share this door between her shop
I
and
see.
the next building. It's kind of in the wall, and people kind of just go in between, bringing snacks into the library when they're not supposed to. But Beatrice, you know that Miss Jenny doesn't care. People are buying from her, and she
Hmm.
doesn't really care where they go.
Yeah. I mean, like Beatrice probably would though. Is the thing is like new information that's just like been brought into town for no reason. Well, for now, no reason. Like, hmm, I don't know. It could be helpful for like strange things that are happening. What if someone brought an eldritch tome? We can only hope, right? Um, yeah, yeah. Beatrice will go ahead and will be like kind of absent-mindedly like uh cleaning any of the stuff that's been kind of like left out from making tea. She probably poured her own cup during conversation as well. I'll just be tidying up. Say, well, yeah, I'd certainly be happy to take a look.
Perfect. I thought you'd be the perfect person for this with your big brain and everything. I knew you'd help out. She finishes her tea, cleans the cup, and puts it on the drying rack and kind of sweeps towards the door, much more agile for an elderly woman. But you've come to know her as to be quite quick on her feet.
Hmm.
Now, Beatrice, let's get it moving. The day is still young, as she kind of slaps her knee and kind of shuffles her way out the door, expecting you to follow.
Yeah, probably get whatever she needs for the day and head on out.
Now, Miss Jenny Brown is a bit of a gossip, and she's catching you up on various things in the town,
And
whether they're important or not.
the fact that she is like, oh yeah, don't gossip in front of like the teacher. She knows everything.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. She's 100% that lady.
Yeah.
And she kind of carries on through the town, almost ignoring the space around her, ignoring anybody who might be coming towards her, expecting them to move out of their way to let her by. And she gets to the store in almost a record time from your house. It's rather unique and amazing that she can have this power about her for being such an elderly lady. She's definitely a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, y'all, we found her. This is the main character right here.
Then she pushes the door open to her shop, and you see that the library door is already open between two tall steps of like dry goods and cans, something that a town like this would need. And she kind of waves you towards it. Now everything's on top of the table over there for you, Beatrice. I don't want anything to do with it. Not my style. My eyes are too tired to read that stuff, anyways. I have receipts and money to count.
Don't we have to read the receipts too?
That's way more important. Numbers are just easy math.
Guess there's a little bit more incentive there.
Of course, one's a livelihood, the other one's a bunch of old records.
Yeah. Beatrice will start looking at these books.
Sure.
Take a look. It's in a book.
Now
It's the
you
old
can
gods of
do
Appalachia.
you can do information, knowledge, or anything that would help you read and skim through these quickly. Or if you want to take your time, you can just do a general roll with a +5 to it.
It kind of, I guess, depends on the content of these books because, like, I don't know, my knowledge areas are incredibly specific, like
Hmm.
history versus mapping versus geography, like just that kind of stuff.
I
Um,
would definitely say history would apply to this. So
okay,
you
then
can roll with a
yeah.
history check here.
Yeah, then let's do that then. Um, I will remember how to play this game at some point. Is it just like a +1 for that, or
I believe so.
it's like the way that rolls work? It's like, and there's not just like an insert in
Yeah,
Foundry,
yeah,
so I'm just
yeah.
like, eh.
I believe, let's see. Clicking all the things. Let me just pull up your sheet real quick.
On Foundry
Let's
on
see,
skills,
let's
it should
see.
have a little die by
Oh,
the
maybe. Oh,
skills.
it does.
It
Oh,
does,
yeah.
yeah. So
Okay,
you
let's
can
try
just
it.
roll that little die there. Okay, a 13, and that's a success. Well done. So, skimming over these kind of archival documents, they're kind of not so much new in the sense that they've been brought outside of town, but new in the sense that they look like they've been freshly typed or retyped. They have an older date to them, dating to about 10 years ago. And you see that it kind of correlates with springtime too, as well. So, same season, just 10 years back. And you see that it's an incident report. And at the bottom, you do see the McCavish name on it, but it seems to be either McCavish's son or his brother. You're not really too sure. It's just a first initial. And, and the incident report starts along the lines of, we are sorry to inform you of the loss of profit of coal. You see that there is a fill-in underscored line, like the loss of, and the coal is written in. And it comes to, and you see another blank line with something filled in, about $200, which is a lot for the 1920s. And then it goes further on, and you see the loss of men and their insurance policy, and you continue to see that this is basically documentation of profits loss.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, the men during that time were profit, and they weren't seen as anything better than that at that time. So it was more of one of the McCavishes was claiming these lives as a loss that they could insure upon in an unfortunate way. And it looks freshly typed again, like I said, and it seems to be misplaced and maybe what looks to be like photos of people, of the area, of the mountain, of the woods, of the river itself. They're beautiful landscape photos, if anything. Um, but yeah, you just see a bunch of pictures, and if you want to look at those closely, you may. If not, you can shuffle them across. But it's just information that seems to be needing to be logged, more or less.
Hmm. Well, I mean, as any good archivist does, yeah, I would like to look at those photos, see if there's like maybe a date written on it or a location or like, I mean, being, kind of trained in mapping and geography, if maybe I can figure out where these places are.
Of course. So let's see. You can roll. Mhm. Just more for information to gather here, more or less from my see how much I can tell you with this roll. I would say for mapping, you can roll one of those
Okay.
because you do see something of a map there.
10.
10.
No.
It still beats it, so you're okay. You do see it is a map of timber, specifically a map of the mines up to the top there. And as you look beneath that initial map, you see a kind of almost a neatly drawn 3D side cut of a geography's map cut of a mine shaft and the mines beneath it. And there are almost 3 to 4 layers within that kind of side cut of this map. And at the bottom, you just see something written in neat handwriting, concerned about the water supply here, possibly tainted with mercury. There's a question mark. And you see some testing
Okay.
numbers.
Huh.
But
That's not good.
um I would say you can roll geography again, because you would understand that mercury leaking into water supply might be bad. I would give you that.
Okay. 10 again.
You understand that mercury as a whole is unique. How complex it might spin out, you're not entirely too sure, but you know that anything in the water can't be too good. But I would also say, there isn't any mercury deposits around timber. So these numbers are either skewed or misinterpreted in some way. I would give you that.
Okay.
You also see along this map with that 10 that the mines were actually very sound 10 years ago. There was no fear of a tunnel or cave in.
Hmm. Okay, we've got a timeline. All right. It's like with all like the numbers and stuff, especially with like the incident report and the insurance and everything, Beatrice thinks this, would never dare say it, but
Mm-hmm.
would just be like, these numbers are probably something Miss Jenny Brown would be interested in.
Exactly. It's kind of fills itself out, especially with how things are spinning out currently. There's still the photos of the people and the landscape if you want to look at those as well.
Yeah, yeah, I'd like to, yes, look at everything, all of the lore.
Of course. So which would you prefer first? Landscape or people?
Let's start with the people.
All right. So with the people, there's about 3 different photos. One is of a mining troupe, and the second one seems to be of the town itself, with like major proponents, major people within the town taking a picture within the square. And the third one seems to be of a man with his back facing the camera, looking over a river and a blank kind of glade, an open glade near the river.
Hmm. Anyone I recognize?
From the mining photo, yeah, you would recognize fair few actually, especially Silas.
Hmm.
He's the foreman. That was his thing. You recognize some of the miners. You recognize Teresa's husband amongst all of them. You recognize Willie among all of them. the young man who came to visit Teresa and wanted his
Mhm.
cards read. You would recognize him. A few other faces you know, but you also see in almost illegible handwriting underneath who is, and then something kind of smears the last word.
Okay, is there anyone well, I mean, it's a whole mining troop. There are probably people Beatrice doesn't recognize.
Yeah,
But
there was about 14 in that troop.
yeah.
Not all of them you would know, but some of them you would.
Okay. Interesting. Creepy vibes. I like it. I'm guessing like the important people, like the
Yeah,
Cavishes are in there.
you
Yeah.
see McCavish, a very young Jenny Brown, uh, what looks to be a young George before he started to grow into his beard that he has now. A few other townspeople you see, people who've come up prominent, like they've made their name
Hmm.
here more or less.
Yeah. And then the man not facing the camera. Probably no idea who that is.
Hard to tell. His
Yeah.
You can't see his face. Hands are in his pocket. Relaxed stature, but he seems to be enjoying the space in front of him.
Yeah, I mean, nice view with the river and everything. Is there anything out there that you might be looking at specifically?
You recognize the river, but you would know that that particular glade has a orchard of trees in it now, particularly obtaining apples.
Uh-huh. Interesting. Okay. That Okay. It's in the brain now. Yeah, okay. That's all right. Yeah, let's look at the landscapes then.
Okay. So the landscapes kind of have this kind of unique, almost Ansel Adams-esque kind of black and whiteness to them. Not as beautiful as his, but similar vein of black and whites. And it's kind of has the mountain framed against a very brightly lit sky. You would assume a brightly blue sky if it had color. And there are beautiful tree groves all around it. You kind of see in the far distance the outline of Silas's cabin, kind of sitting up by the mountains because he liked being up there by the mine itself. And you kind of see the overview of the river and the creek kind of cutting through towns. This seems to have been taken back overlooking the town itself and has the mountain in the back. The next landscape photo seems to be a bit odd. More of it's looking up, but there's a bunch of blurred streaks against a black background, as if it's trying to capture something it's not quite capable of capturing. And it's either too dark for it or it's just isn't able to keep up with something moving.
Yeah, I was thinking it
Uh,
was like maybe something too fast.
yeah, it's something along those lines. And you can kind of see outlines of trees that were standing still, but other than that, it's hard to make out. But when you flip it over, it just says meteor shower, and it has the date for 10 years ago.
Uh-huh. Okay. Concern. Heck, the player has concern. Um, okay. Yeah, but if this is kind of like all the information I think I can glean from this stuff. I mean, yeah, is there any way that I can like copy some of like these records and stuff? Like, I don't know. I feel like it'd be important to yeah, like have a copy of this or something if I don't know, someone tried to destroy something like this.
Well, the copy machine didn't come out
Oh
until
yeah,
about
for sure.
30, 40 years later.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I'm just like I'm trying to think because I don't want to just like steal it because that feels like I mean I could just steal it, but then they're gonna be like, why did you take this? That
you
would
know
come
that
into question.
Jen Brown doesn't care. She doesn't care about archival
True.
materials. You don't know who's left these. And then you doubt that Jenny Brown's gonna notice unless you say something to her.
Okay.
Beatrice is smart. She can invent the mimeograph.
I know because I was trying to think. It was like, oh, if this was like more raised or something, you could take like a rub of something, but you
Yeah,
can't do that
nope.
with paper.
Yeah, this is
Um,
this is a paper
uh,
photo.
yeah. Yeah, no, I think just because that record and like also with the Mercury being like some of the more
Hmm.
suspect stuff, and like I don't know, someone that doesn't want this information out there finds that it's here and wants to destroy it, like that's what Beatrice is suspecting might happen.
Hmm.
Um, especially with I don't know how great the image is here of some of the people in charge. So yeah, I guess yeah, she'll take it.
All
She'll take
right.
those records.
Now, are you going back through the shop or are you leaving through the library doors?
I feel like Miss Jenny Brown is gonna make me do more things if I go out the front. But also she's gonna yell at me if I leave through the library.
Quite a conundrum there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's probably fine. I'm just gonna leave through the library.
Sure enough, you leave through the library, nobody stops you. Nobody really bothers you. Nobody really seems to be using the library at the moment, so you get out. You don't need to make a roll. Nobody's really paying attention to you. You have these things under your arm and go about your day. Now, as you're going about your day, doing what you need to do, chores or whatnot, the rest of your group has been getting into a bit of trouble. They can catch you up on that,
Just a
but
little.
just a little. But when night falls and things kind of get quiet, you do hear what sounds like a bobcat screaming. It's the best way to put it. And the next morning, it definitely was not a bobcat who put
Nope.
5 stakes in the city town square with an apron on it. And everybody's kind of stunned and shell-shocked at this weirdness, strange something or other. And you see the rest of your companions just quietly standing there, reflecting upon whatever the hell has happened here.
I mean, do I see it on their faces? Do they know like what happened?
It's really obvious. They know.
Okay.
None of us are good actors. We're all just like stunned.
We are but people of Appalachia after all. Um,
The pole that says freedom is not the same one that has the apron, correct?
It is.
It is.
oh,
Okay. Got it.
Mhm. The rest of them say beloved.
so is this something we all have the capacity to talk about right now, or do we need some time?
So you've come up to us now. I'm just trying
Mm-hmm.
to understand
Oh
this.
yeah.
Um, it is good to see you, Beatrice. Um,
Good to see y'all too.
sorry, we've had a sleepless night. At least I have. Uh, I'm just here to grab some provisions and head back home.
I mean, I don't entirely know if there's something to be sorry for, but I appreciate it. Um, need help carrying something over?
Um, she doesn't have anything now because she saw this as soon as she went into town, and
Mm-hmm.
so she kind of looks down at you know the sack she brought with her, and she says, I don't think so. And I got Jasper. If I need to carry anything.
Okay. Is Dare also there?
Yeah, he's
Okay.
pretty quiet.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, Beatrice, like, vision kind of like switches over. Um, rather quiet there. You okay?
I'm a little afraid to say anything else.
As in, and she gestures to place with lots of people, or um, general. Interesting way to say that.
Yeah, I tried to help, and it didn't go so well. You never made any deals with the mountain, right?
No.
All right. There's 4 people in this town who might have done so, and they might be next.
Ah.
And I kind of lean in close as much as propriety allows, and I say, uh, "That's Miss Silas's apron."
When I recognize it, like, is it distinctive or is that like news?
It's news. Aprons are
Okay.
pretty standard for, especially for
Figured.
mothers and
Yeah.
wives and people who work in industry or kitchens and stuff like that. They would wear aprons like this.
And she has a name. What's what's her name? That seems very regressive, even for 1930s to not know her name.
You would know it to be Sally.
Sally.
Mhm.
And we can fill you in later, but don't scream. But Silas has been dead for years.
She has to take a second to not exclaim anything very loudly. Um, okay, I'm gonna have a lot of questions about that. Um, I do have a little bit to share with y'all. I was organizing some stuff for the library yesterday, and I'm not sure if it's important for what we're trying to figure out, but I did think it was odd.
Perhaps we should relocate.
I think that's a good plan.
We could probably get a quiet table at the inn, at least.
Hmm.
I have just as much sense to keep an eye out for Jonas. So if I spot him, let me know, and I might do something.
Yeah, make a notice, perception, anything that would allow you to perceive.
7.
7, let's see. You don't see Jonas. No, unfortunately, he doesn't seem to stick out as much at the moment. He seems to be blending in quite well with this crowd that's gathering.
All right. As we enter the inn, I mentioned to the barkeep, "Hey, let me know if Jonas gets in."
You see a nod, and Harris kind of gives you a sad sort of smile as he kind of turns away to 8 other patrons.
Yeah, I don't have the emotional bandwidth to to unpack that sad smile.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, so I'm just going to sit for now.
You can find a quiet space quite easily. Most of the people here have either gone to sit with other people that they know or have just made themselves a bit more scarce. They don't seem to be in a talkative or communicative mood today.
I mean, at least the rest of the town is as flabbergasted as we are.
Mhm.
Ain't no telling how much death we've been walking around. But I'm sorry.
More is
Did you
coming.
had something to show us?
Right, right. She'll procure the records that she took from the library.
These records have the kind of by cut of the mining shaft, the landscape pictures of the town, of the mining troupe, of prominent members within the town itself, and the man whose back is facing you. And it has the map of the mines itself.
Hmm.
Yeah, now I see that number down there with the mercury. That just was a little odd to me. There's no way something would be that high and we'd still be, around this area. Like, we would have relocated easily about 10 years ago. I'm not sure if someone just didn't know what to record and just wrote something down, or I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm certain Teresa's looking at this like, make sense of the pictures and everything, but any diagrams and maps,
Uh-huh.
like Teresa's going to be slightly lost.
Yeah, they definitely recognize the pictures full of people, especially the one with your husband on it, and Silas and a few other of the mining group. You recognize Willie. You know him from the tarot card reading that he didn't get because your cards were acting weird. But yeah, you know everyone in that mining troupe. Or new.
I mean, I know all these folks. All these boys. There's Owen and there's the rest of them. And I'll point to Willie and said, this boy came in for a reading yesterday. But when I pulled the cards, they were all blank.
Oh.
I don't have an explanation for it, but I don't know if Willie here has something to do with this, or if he's, I don't know. He seems a bit young to be a part of it, but
I mean, maybe he didn't mean to be a part of it and was just caught up in something he didn't want to be in. Sounds like a lot of people in this town. But then, and then she'll point to the writing on that one. I was like, I'm not sure if someone didn't know who a particular person was, or maybe they were asking, who is this person? Like, what are they doing here? What are they? I don't know. It's just a very vague question with this smear at the end.
And when it's pointed out, anyone who wishes can make a perception, sight, intrigue, or a general understanding roll.
I only got a 6.
I think that's just
18
gonna
for me.
18, 6.
I think that's a flat roll.
I don't think it occurs to dare to try at this point.
Understandable.
My heart.
Understandable.
He's
Poor
having
Dare.
a day. He's having
Yeah,
a
poor
day.
Dare
He's
is just
having a
so
day.
traumatized.
He's doing
He's having a
self-care.
day.
It's okay.
He's
you know.
looking after himself.
That's right.
He's getting a cup of tea, little cookie to satisfy himself. He knows
right.
he needs
He's
to take care of himself.
He has a happy place. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all right.
Mhm.
I got an 18 on that roll.
Nice, nice. Well, let's see. I would say Beatrice and Jasper, you kind of twig into the fact now that you see it in better light, Beatrice and Jasper, because you kind of see it at a good angle, that whatever the smear had obscured, there's still faint writing kind of etched into the paper itself, like an indent itself. Well, the word's not seeable on the surface, could be quite clever in how to obtain it.
Yeah, because I thought about this and now it actually works with like photo type paper. Um, yeah, I mean, there's like some scrap paper around or like something that I can like rub onto it and like figure out what that word is.
Well,
Love to do that.
there's some coal in the fireplace. The fire's not going at the moment. It's too bit too warm for that.
I
You do
carry a
have
journal and a pencil with me.
there you go.
Right.
All
So yeah,
right.
I'll pull off a piece of paper and hand it to you.
I do the thing.
Now, do the thing, transfer it, and do whatever you need to do to transfer this particular word. And when you kind of peel it off and kind of get that etching all good and ready, you see the phrase in its complete form, "Who is dead?" with a question mark.
Oh no.
Well, we know now they could have been asking about Silas.
Could have. But then they also might have just been for the purpose of having a picture of everybody, and then she'll procure the like insurance record thing. That whole thing. Like they may have been just trying to count heads.
Yeah.
Yeah, which actually, like, I'm sorry if I missed this. But does it look like, they struck out and didn't get anything off of what they were trying to claim, or was anything actually paid to them?
There was a payment. Yeah, there was a payment. The
Okay.
coal came up to 200 pounds, but each of those 10 lives that were lost equal to about 250.
Okay.
So the men were more valuable than the coal.
Mm-hmm.
But none of the men's names were recorded, it looked like.
Wait, did you say 10? 10 people?
Mm-hmm.
About 14 in the photo.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, y'all. 4 more posts. Oh no. Oh, I wonder who it like. Yeah, this like is all coming together in Beatrice's brain, and like there is kind of that light bulb moment of someone else was trying to figure this out. They're asking the same questions I think we're about to ask.
Who would even want to know? I mean, they clearly, folks in this town clearly ain't hesitant to work with Applejack.
Oh yeah, we call him Applejack now.
Yeah, I just remembered you called him Applejack. I was trying so hard not to laugh.
We accidentally summoned him and didn't want to ever do that again.
Oh,
The man in white.
mm-hmm.
In fact,
Yeah.
you've seen apples being sold in town?
Yeah.
It's Applejack's doing.
Uh-huh. And because Beatrice doesn't know like the exact location of these yet, so people his doing, but like why? Does it will grow apple trees?
He's got a grove of apple trees.
Giving folks what they want. Um,
Ah.
what they
Zach,
want is apples in the spring, apparently.
yeah,
Mm.
Zach wished for apples, thinking that it would help his daughter get well, and asked the Applejack for apples and got an orchard, and that's where George and Zach are getting their apples. Why apples are in abundant supply right now, even though they're not in season, and why George is using that for his moonshine.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I tell him about where the orchard is, and so we fill you in on other details as well, probably.
Mm-hmm.
The vision that we had both at the same time. Did you have a vision at, and I described the time that Teresa and I. You happen
No
to
vision reached so much to Beatrice. Beatrice seems to have been quite lucky to have escaped the vision.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then we describe it. There's like stars, the word beloved, an image of the mountain, the broken mountain. Yeah,
Stars. And then she'll shuffle through more of the papers again and bring out the paper or the photograph that was labeled meteor shower. Um, Something like this. I know it's not probably not quite. It didn't really capture well. Quality's not very good.
is it something like that? Is what I saw.
Oh yeah, yeah. And Jasper and Teresa, you would know the date very well. It's the day before the mine collapsed.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
That
This is like a photo or
Mhm.
something.
It's not a great photo because 1920 cameras aren't
Hmm.
great,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
but you would get the sense and the writing on the back that it is a meteor shower, and it's dated for the day before the collapse of the mine.
Yeah, and Teresa would have recognized it and like grabbed the photo and flipped it over. Like
Hmm.
just like, no, I don't want to see that. Um and she says, yeah, that's what I saw. Curse or
that date
hint or something.
that that date's the day before Owen died in the collapse.
Day
I'm
before, you
sorry.
say?
Yeah,
So
day
they saw.
before. Yeah,
So they saw the meteor shower, and then the day after.
correct.
Okay.
Bad omen.
That was shortly before I came back to town.
It is almost a week before he came back to town, I would say.
Okay. Yeah. Nobody mentioned the meteor. Everyone was talking about the collapse.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, there was someone who thought it was important enough to try to document, but I have no idea where these actually came from. Jenny Brown had no idea either. They were just there on the table.
Hmm.
What why was Miss Brown looking at it?
Uh, she didn't care. She didn't, at least as far as I'm concerned, just was ready to throw them on the porch if they didn't make it to the library. Someone delivered it, but no idea who.
And then I think we'll fill you in on the Dare tried to undo a deal by making a deal. Um,
Silas, he wasn't doing so well, and as we were leaving, he seemed to be somebody was going to attack, or there was a monster. There was something in the woods, and I thought that maybe that little item, that little rock, the hole in it was what was protecting him, and that it had come for him and his family. So I wished that, and he and Silas had mentioned a deal, and I explained this better. So you having seen the recap, assuming you got the actual knowledge, not the
I have the
the
lore.
the bad version that I'm giving you now. Silas had mentioned he was paying the price for a deal that he didn't make, and I asked Applejack to make it so that the price for the deal would be paid by those who made the deal instead of people like Silas. And Applejack went into the house and pulled out Sally, and Silas disappeared. And recapping it now, remembering it now, like, I need to go back there. I need to check on the kids and the dogs, because I don't know if they exist or don't, but I need to make sure that they're okay.
That's awful considerate of you. I'm sorry that this all happened. It doesn't sound like what you expected or wanted out of it.
No, ma'am.
It was an honest mistake.
Yeah.
Killed my flower
That's-
beds.
And I'm sorry about the flower beds too. And
No.
he's sincere when he says that. He's like, "Oh, this flower bed," and he like says like, "Oh yeah, the flower beds, yes." It's like he's like marking it off as another thing he needs to apologize for. Yeah.
Teresa put her hand on yours and said, "Ain't your fault. Ain't none of this our fault."
Well, I'll be very mindful as I make things right. I will be very cautious and not try to skip a step.
And
Thank you.
he told us, he said, 1 down, 4 to go.
Yeah.
So does this mean that maybe I'm just a little confused, but if the people that made the deal are the ones paying, does that mean Sally was part of the deal?
Yeah, we think that Sally made a deal to save
Oh,
her husband, and
that
that's
would do
why
it.
he disappeared as soon as
Mhm.
whatever happened to Sally happened. So we don't know what the other people in the deal were. I thought it might be Mr. McCavish, although he came to me today and said that he was going to pin it on Jonas. So if you see him, I don't know, tell him to sleep with one eye open. Tell him he can stay at my place. Not tell anyone. I don't know if he wants to stay at the inn anymore, because it's
That
the kind of
sounds
thing
dangerous.
where you put together a mob and
Mhm.
have that kind of justice. And
Won't be justice for nobody.
you know, if they're gonna come, they should come for me.
Pondering those words, Teresa, would you allow a GM intrusion?
Yeah, I'll allow it.
Talking, you see, feel, sense something brush past you, just kind of move past your arm as if something's reaching past you, and kind of pull the photo of the miners towards you slightly. and press down on it as if somebody's kind of examining it over your shoulders, trying to get a better look at it. And you kind of watch as the face of Silas burns off like sellotape. And written under the word "who is" with the now complete sentence "who is dead," you see the kind of horrible mud stained, iron stained words form. Beloved needs this to be done.
I will snatch it up off the table. Um, I just stare at it. I don't know what to do with this. And she's just looking at it. She's like, something's been haunting me since that day. I I don't think it's just Applejack we gotta worry about. Something else is out there. Something even Applejack loves. I don't who we gotta find out who else is dead. Who else died that day.
Well, I agree, but where do we start?
I guess we start by talking to these folks. And I put the picture back down. Maybe Willie was looking for a reading. Maybe I'll talk to him.
We also want to figure out what that deal was. Because if that deal was something protecting the town from the mountain or from Applejack or Applejack's buddies or whoever this beloved is, then Timber's in trouble, more trouble than any of us anticipated. So I don't know what the deal was, but somebody does, and before they're all dead, we need to find out what that was.
Folks thinking they can cheat death. Can't cheat it even a little bit. It'll come for you no matter what.
Do we think there would be any benefit in attempting to talk to Applejack again?
No. I do not.
Fair.
But I think if I gave anyone the impression that I had any answers, I apologize, and I will not do that again. So, on your own head be it.
We're all just looking out for each other. I had the same concern about Silas. When you were talking to Applejack, I thought you were doing the right thing too. Hell, I might have done it myself.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't got answers. We got questions on questions here.
Do you think he can be killed?
Probably only the Lord knows that.
Hmm.
I just know we have a place where we can keep him at bay, but that's all we got right now.
Well, it's something.
If y'all need to run to my place. It's always safe for y'all.
Appreciate it.
Obliged.
In the meantime, we've got 4 more deaths coming.
And I wonder, oop, I wonder what the difference is between one that's freedom and the rest are beloved.
Silas used the language of he couldn't move forward and he couldn't make deals. And before he disappeared, he said, the dead can't make deals, or dead don't deal, something like that. So it might be something to do with freedom being freedom from the deal, freedom from whatever prison of their own making.
Maybe.
I mean, sounds like, well, again, we got questions on top of questions. Finding out who's dead ain't the full answer. Finding out who's alive, who made that deal for them, is the bigger
Next step.
question.
Mm-hmm.
We know Sally made the deal for Silas.
Where do we even begin?
I'll talk to Willie, see if he knows who got hurt that day.
It sounds like a plan.
I'm going to go check on Silas's, what's left of Silas's place. And we don't have to roleplay that if you don't want to. I can just tell me what I find.
No, we are definitely
Okay.
gonna.
Oh no,
you
more
on.
trauma.
This baby has so much trauma.
It's okay. You don't have to traumatize me more. No, let me.
Let me, you've given me these knives. How dare you?
Cool.
But where are you going, Beatrice? Are you going with Teresa or are you going with Dare?
Oh, I like part of me honestly wants to go and check out the posts more because we didn't get close to them like at all.
No, you can do that, of course.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious about those. So I'll go and check those out.
All right. And Jasper, you going with Teresa?
Yeah, I think I'll head with Teresa for now.
Sounds good. All right, let's see. Let's go with Beatrice.
Another great decision. Splitting the party.
Nothing bad happens in a horror game when you split the party.
Uh,
Let's go
it's
with
fine.
Beatrice.
It's the middle of the day. What's gonna happen in broad daylight?
I've been watching a lot of Thai horror and everything happens
Hell
in broad
yeah.
daylight.
Oh my god.
So, Beatrice, you approach the stakes or postings, what have you here. The apron's still there. People seem to be very averse into, like, they just don't want anything to do with it. It's like seeing the plague and not wanting to catch it sort of feel. They were making a wide berth around this kind of setup. The sheriff's there, but it's mostly him not drunk too much, but he's there. At least that's something, I suppose. But you would have free reign. Nobody seems to want to approach whatever this is in front of you.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think Beatrice would start at the stake with the apron on it. Like, writing's on the wall there, she gets that one. But she more just wants to like figure out like what kind of posts actually are these? Like, are they like more like fence posts or did someone like make these? If so, like out of like what wood, like would I know like where locationally it might be from? Just that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
You can roll if you have any nature or any knowledge sense towards that, you can, but I would give you a +1 to your roll because the smell of this wood is quite recognizable.
Okay. Um,
But it's more to
let's
know
see.
its
Oh, did
location for
I?
this.
Oh, I took carpentry. Can I use that?
Yes, you may. You can
Hell
use that
yeah.
instead of the +1.
All right. That was from the useful skill I took from Explorer. It was like lots of hands-on experience and tasks related to three areas of hands-on skills, and that was one that I chose. Um, 17.
17. So 17, yeah, you would definitely recognize this wood as a type of cedar wood, believe it or not. But as you kind of move through, that's cedar wood, beech wood, ash, hawthorn, pine, local pine, and the fifth one seems to be oak.
They're all different. That's interesting. Um, gosh. Probably good to know. Um, I mean, would I know anything like locationally about like where these trees would kind of go? Because now Beatrice is thinking like, okay, would these types of trees be anywhere like nearby to like these particular people where things are happening? Like with Sally's home, for example, would that be matching to trees around her homestead?
No, that's the thing. Timber is made of pine wood, as
Hmm.
far as the eye can see. It's an easy wood to grow, easy to cultivate. It's just pine wood. I mean, yeah, you get the occasional oak tree, maple tree, what have you, for the mountains, but you don't really see ash trees too much this far. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a bit odd to see them. They're more of a northern tree, if anything. And beech trees are, well, they're a winter tree, if anything. They're a bit too hard to harvest, and they're not a very favorable tree to harvest. And cedar's nice for packing and storing things, but other
Hmm.
than that, it's not great.
Smells great though.
Hawthorne,
I
it
love
smells
cedar. Yeah.
wonderful, but Hawthorne is definitely one nobody would truly honestly mess with. It's just not a good tree to have. It's nice to have in flowering areas, but it's not good for much else.
Very strange. And it's, no other markings on them. It's just the beloved on each of those, right?
Yeah, just beloved on each of those, and the one that has the apron just says freedom. And the each of those plaques that have those words on it match the wood type of
Yep.
those. So it looks like it was very intentional, or it's just odd, for the
Yeah.
lack of the better word.
And it's like Beatrice is kind of thinking to herself, like, I don't really know necessarily what this is supposed to mean, but someone meant something by this. Um, so yeah, honestly, she might she might return to the library to see if there's like anything on like maybe symbology of what this stuff kind of means.
Of course, sure. And as you do that, we'll take a break and come back to this as we are at break time, but I'll tell you more when we return.
All right, folks, we'll be back soon.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Let's dive right into this. Beatrice went off to the library to do some research, and as we kind of turn away from that, we'll kind of look at Teresa and Jasper as we kind of move through our storytellers here today. So, Teresa, Jasper, you're going towards Willie's house. You know he lives with his mother and sister, just because it's easier to do during these times and prime times. And it's a bit up the hill. They find a nice place above the holler itself, kind of overlooking the creek and river. It's a nice little cabin, 2 bedroom at most. You see Willie's mother kind of out in the garden, working the ground. She pauses as she hears you approach and looks toward you and straightens up, cleaning her hands. Miss Teresa, Mr. Jasper, nice to see you folks.
It's good to see you too. How y'all doing?
Pretty fine, actually, thank you.
I actually wanted to come talk to Willie. He had come by the other day and I had a little bit of a fit and I wanted to apologize to him.
Don't need to apologize to my boy, Miss Teresa, but I'll go get him for you.
I appreciate that.
She gives a nod and kind of wanders into the house. You hear her call for Willie, and a few moments later, he comes out, kind of pokes his head out the door. Miss Teresa? Jasper?
Uh um I wanted to, first off say I'm sorry for pushing you out the door the other day.
Nah, Mama said it was just the Haints and them doing things to you, so I guess it's all right. I really don't know much better, so can't say.
Yeah, I mean that about sums it up, but I had some questions for you. Um I don't really know how to talk about this, but were you there the day my husband Owen died?
Looks behind him, and kind of pauses before he steps out of the cabin, shuts the door behind him. I was, Miss Teresa. I really like talking in front of my mom about it.
Well, I understand that, and I don't mean to be a bother. If you think it'd be better to come by mine or find some other place to talk, I'm happy to do that.
I got a lot of chores to do here today, but I can stay at the house. I mean, we're gonna get a new foreman in a few days, I think, and we gotta get back up the mountain. Gotta get that money to us.
Yeah, um, that all sounds important. New, you know who's coming in to be the foreman?
Nah, probably some folk out of Lexington, I would expect.
Sounds about right. Mr. McCaffrey's probably want to bring someone he knows.
Well, that's what we all assume, but I don't know. I don't think Mr. McCavish has a say in this particular foreman.
Well, yeah. Again, don't mean to be a bother. Just you can come by my place anytime.
Of course, I mean, ask your questions. I mean, I don't have to. He steps further away from the cabin. I can answer what I can. Just don't want my mama to hear. She don't like talking about that night.
Yeah, don't want to frighten her. Uh, was anyone else hurt that day that made it out anyway?
You're all hurt, Miss Teresa. I got conked on my head a few times, broke my arm, my leg. Took a few weeks for me to heal up properly. Uh, no one pushed me into the elevator. Yeah, he saved me. Sorry, Miss Teresa. It should have been him.
Nah, I wouldn't have expected him to do anything else. I'm glad you're still around, and I'm glad you're helping your mama.
Um, he kind of thinks for a moment. Well, few of us got out all right. I mean, he kind of pauses as he looks you over quietly, kind of unsure how to proceed with such a delicate and sensitive thing before he kind of barrels on. Mr. Garrett, he was pretty badly hurt. He got some pretty nasty wounds to him. Uh, I can't say much of that. I don't really know I was out of it for a few months, of course.
Yeah, of course. I know a lot of y'all barely made it out of there. I don't expect you to remember everything. I just think
of course. Yeah, I mean, uh, yeah, that's the old guy from the north. He was he was there too. He was the mine's doctor. He made sure we were all right, made sure we had our canaries, made sure our lamps were good. Really kind of looked out for us, Mr. Jasper. Uh, um, uh, Miss Miss Jessica's husband. He kind of thinks back. I think he passed actually just last year. Uh, he thinks for a moment, longer. No, he went north to look for some job. He's gonna send for Miss Jessica later. Um, he he um he was pretty banged up from what I read and understood. And of course, yeah, you have Devin. He kind of looked out for us boys down in the mines and yeah, made sure all those younger ones weren't getting stuck places, you know? He was quite nice, and of course, you had Silas. He made it all right, but I heard he bumped his head the night after.
bumped his head the night after.
Yes, ma'am.
Huh.
Miss Sally said got a little gash on his head, right? He kind of motions where you had seen the gash on his head.
No. I don't like doing this stuff out in public, but if you'll just bear with me a moment, and I'm gonna pull the hagstone, and I just want to take a look at him through the hagstone.
Of course. You pull it out and look through the hagstone. Make me an intelligence roll. A defense.
17.
And move. All right. Make sure you move yourself 2 steps forward with that hagstone use.
Not quite
So,
sure what that means. I'll have to t- touch base with you later on that. So I guess.
each time you use the hagstone, you move 2 steps closer to darkness.
Okay.
And something that's been looking at you is much more aware of you now.
Okay.
You look through it, and as you look through it, you get the sense something in your mind is screaming for you, don't do that. It's a very sharp, don't do that. And you almost feel a hand grab your arm as if trying to stop you, but you overcome that initial will and kind of seize the moment for yourself, and you are able to peer through the hagstone. And you are looking at Willie, bruised, bloodied, face a bit too scarred up, gash across his jawline, and terribly mangled arm and leg, blood kind of seeping across a wound in his chest. Boy, is he so young. The picture you have, he was young. He was young in that picture, and he's young now. Dead boys don't age.
She'll put it away quietly and say, Willie, thank you so much. Now you go help your mama, all right?
course, Miss Teresa. If you need anything, I'll be here. We have some nettle tea if you for your if you have any like joint pains or anything. Marcy, she complains of joint pains. He kind of motions at his midsection around here a lot. I don't know what that is, but she said it helps. So I'm just gonna go make her some tea and stuff.
You know what? I'll have to maybe some other time. All right.
All right. I'm gonna go feed the cows and goats. Bye, Mr. Jasper. Bye, Miss Teresa. Um, kind of
Oh,
takes an awkward shuffle back.
where is your mama? Where'd she go off to?
She's just in the kitchen. I think she's making soup for later for day. She can bring you a bowl by, or I can bring you a bowl by, if you want later on when it's all made.
No, that's all right. I'll let her cook. I won't bother her. Oh, you said your sister's around?
Yeah, Marcy's actually he thinks from gathering herbs up on like the wild garlic for the soup. It's really good.
All right. Well, yeah, you go help your mama. And go do your chores. And I'll see you around. All right.
Okay. Take care. Kind of gives an awkward wave and opens the door and kind of sneaks back into the house, shutting the door behind him.
I will turn to Jasper and just kind of nod, like, and I'll go off to look for his sister.
Of course, and as you and Jasper go to do that, you know where the garlic patches are. They're quite nice and nearby. There, you make your way up to Silas's house. It is a smoldering ruin of a house. Oddly, no smoke smell of it. It's ruins, but no smell of smoke. They look old. The dogs are still hanging about, but they don't really seem to mind all the ruin. They're quite happy just to be there. And when you approach, they wag their tails and kind of brush up against you and lay back down in the dirt, huffing the way dogs do.
Yeah, I give him some rubs and some pets and some biscuits.
Oh, they love the biscuits. It's the best thing they've had all day. And they're
Yeah.
happily just taking from you, but they leave you in peace for the most part.
All right, I'll plan on taking the dogs with me when I go.
Of course.
I'm looking for any sign that the suns were real.
Of course, you can kind of move around this cottage, this burnt out cabin, and kind of almost maybe 20 feet out in the back, you see what would have been a makeshift play area for kids at some point. It's well worn and aged at this point, overgrown, much like the landscape is weirdly overgrown now. It's quite possible the kids were here at one point, and these sons of Silas were here. Where they've gone, you're not sure.
I call out their names.
Call out their names. You would know them to be Evan and Ian. Simple names, something nice and easy that rolls off the tongue. You do so, and there's kind of what sounds like a crack of an axe against wood. And you hear a voice called, "Up the hill."
I follow the noise.
You follow it, and you see a young man, probably in his early 20s, standing there, kind of squinting at you before he puts on some round glasses and is like, "Yeah,
Do I know them as is this Evan or Ian?
you're not sure. He's a bit older than what you would know these boys to be."
Okay. I imagine I know Evan and Ian. Silas, like I know Silas well enough.
Yeah, but the boys you saw around with Silas were 10.
Okay. and I say, Evan, Ian,
Evan. Ian's hunting.
I was a friend of your dad's.
Oh, yeah. We just came in this morning to settle any affairs. We finally got the letter from him. Well, from the town at least.
The town sent you a letter that saying that he passed on.
And more to settle the land and stuff. It was, I know, tied up in, I don't know, bureaucracy or something like that.
When did the letter say he died?
Uh, 10 years ago? I mean, we were up north with our aunt, and we kind of just stayed there because mom didn't want to deal with us, and him being lost, so kind of just stayed up there.
Yeah. Well, real sorry about your loss.
Uh, Thank you, sir, but it was 10 years ago.
Yeah, just. And he says it without any humor. It was like yesterday, some of us here.
I imagine sure this town holds memories weird, and probably a good thing that we kind of shuffled out when we could.
The dogs, they with you?
Yeah, we can't have dogs. Auntie's allergic to them, unfortunately. Uh, if you want them, you can take them. We're just kind of keeping them company as we see if we can sell what we can of this land. Just getting some food before we kind of head back north.
Yeah. Um, I tell them an anecdote about their dad and how he like saved lives, or you know, some funny story about him with the mines that has been kind of local legend, kind of what a stand-up guy he was, and say, well, I wish you well, and I'll take the dogs with me as I go.
Yeah, thanks for that. I mean, we only heard stories that Mom wrote back. Nice letters and stuff, so it's good to hear actually something of them. Shame that Mom passed. Wish we could have said goodbye to her, though.
Yeah. These mountains.
These mountains. I wouldn't want to be here any longer than I had to. I'm quite glad my brother and I got out.
I'm glad you did too, and I'm glad you're doing all right.
Yeah, not doing too bad. Yeah, not doing bad at all. If you ever want to come up to Toledo, just come say hi. We got a steamboat ferry going across the lake to Canada if you want to come see us.
Oh, Toledo. We have a visitor from out there. Name's Jonas. He's a labor organizer.
Really? Huh. We'll have to see if he's from the same part of Toledo we are. We'll go see and catch up with him if we see him. What does he look like?
I describe him.
Huh. I might know him, but I'm pretty sure my wife might. I think they come from that area.
How how did it go with the unions up there?
If Ohio was any more unionized, we would be Britain. He kind of laughs.
It worked out all right for you all.
Worked out just fine. Safer places. Railways and trains are safer. Kids aren't getting hurt anymore. People aren't getting hurt laying down those tracks. It's good.
Hmm.
It's good for us.
I'm glad. Well, I think your dad would be happy to hear that you've all moved forward the way you have.
Right as rain. Can't stop taking talk.
All
He
right.
kind of looks towards the mountain. I don't like it here. I don't think anybody should be here. It's creepy.
Hard to argue, but you gotta live somewhere.
kind of gives a nod in agreement. Oh, the dogs? Name them whatever you want. I don't know their names, I'm afraid.
All right.
Just be careful what you name them. Names have power. What Mom told me before we scuttled off. Just gonna get my wood and see if my brother needs help with the deer, and if we see in town, we'll buy a drink. How's that?
I'd be obliged if I don't buy it for you first.
Too kind, sir, too kind. But I'll leave you to be if you want to look around. The land's yours to wander. We really have no stake in it.
I understand. Hope you get a good price.
Hope so too. Anyways, he kind of turns his head as his brother kind of comes down the trail, and he kind of waves to each other, and they could discuss a few things before waving to you when they both turn down the trail towards their hunt.
Great. I take the dogs back to my house.
Yeah, they come willingly. They're good dogs, and they're all waggly tailed, shaking their whole body as they follow you, completely pleased to have company and somebody to pet them and feed them more. You find out they're quite lazy dogs, despite being hunting and tracking dogs. They're happy just to lay at your feet and be sleepy little things.
Nice. Well, since I named Crossroads Man Applejack, I'll name them Twilight Sparkle and Rainbow Princess. No, more My Little Pony references for the fans. I'll think about that. I'll think about their names. I'll
Of course, I'll give you time to give you time. You can surprise us all with those names.
sure. I get them settled and then I think I head to Teresa's if check there first. If they're not there, I'll head back into town.
Of course. Um, Teresa, would you be back towards your house by now?
Yeah, honestly, probably.
Sounds good. As you are going back there, Dare, and Teresa, you're heading back to your home. Beatrice, as we circle back around, you're looking up the symbology of trees in the archives.
See if there's anything. I kind of doubt it, but maybe.
Try the
Uh,
microfiche.
uh, so you have a background in carpentry, I would say, and you are an archivist, so you know of research and know how to look for research. And I would give you a either a carpentry role or a research role of some type.
Okay.
It would be an intelligence role or a knowledge role or something that would fit looking for more symbology based, history based, or
Yeah.
story based.
All right. Well, yeah, let's try this little history roll though. Let's see what happens.
Of course.
17 again. I keep getting glued on like one number for like 2 to 3 rolls.
Yeah, no, you definitely could succeed. Here, I will actually just give you this because you've rolled well enough. Let's see. Let's see. Think you should be able to see that. It's labeled tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ignore the highlighted stuff. I couldn't figure out how to
Oh, that's okay.
unhighlight it. But that
Oh,
is what you learn. With cedar symbolism, because of its characteristics, size, diameter, lifespan, the cedar has become a symbol of greatness, nobility, strength, and of incorruptibility. The beech tree is associated with femininity and is often considered the queen of British trees, where the oak is the king. In Celtic mythology, Fagus was the god of beech trees. The tree was thought to be medicinal in its properties, and its leaves were boiled to make a poultice, which was used to relieve some swellings. The ash tree was thought to have medical and mystical properties. The wood was burned to ward off evil spirits. In Norse mythology, ash tree was the tree of life. and the first man on Earth was said to have come from ash tree. Even today, it's sometimes known as Venus of the Woods. In Celtic mythology, the most sacred of these trees is the hawthorn tree. It is a symbol of love, protection, and fertility. Its blossoming marks the point at which spring turns into summer, and the old saying, Cassier éclaute d'hermée is out, almost certainly refers to the opening of these hawthorn flowers. The oak tree symbolizes strength, endurance, power, and ancient wisdom. The oak tree is strong, roots penetrates deep within the earth, anchoring firmly in place. It's like the backbone of the earth itself. The trunk raises tall and proud, kind of branching out into the canopy of leaves that provide shelter and protection for all beneath it.
Oh yeah, someone definitely meant something. Putting the different types of wood and posts for everybody to see. Okay. Yep, nope. Yeah, Beatrice will definitely take note of these. And when she gets to the rest of the group is gonna communicate that.
Of course. You can join up with Teresa as well at her houses. That's where you kind of wanted and aim to go. So eventually you all kind of meet up and gather everything here.
Did y'all ever do, this is meta, but did y'all ever do those like logic problems where you do the graphs? So you have like, and you have put the X's to say this is, so Ash couldn't be this person. This person
Yeah.
doesn't have a loved one who's a minor. And then this person, is no longer with us. So they could have made a deal because
Yes.
so like, we need to like
Yeah, it's like this
cross-reference
person
that.
is a
Seriously.
lawyer and lives in the blue house, but
Yeah.
There you
like
go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's always
exactly.
colored houses. I don't know why.
That's right.
Like,
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. But no one with a male name could possibly live in a red house.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's although
Exactly.
oh.
Why are all these rules about living in different color houses? Who did this?
Yes. All right. So first of all, the kids are not kids anymore. They are grown up and living in Toledo, and they came back and they as adults because they got a letter saying that the estate is finally settled, and they got a record from the town that Silas died 10 years ago. So they have been aware that Silas has been dead for a long time. I don't know if that means that everyone in town knows and doesn't remember that Silas was sort of with us a day ago, or what. I don't know what this means. I don't know what any of this means. Mr. McCavish, I mean, they only needed to hire a new foreman now. They didn't do it 10 years ago. So,
I mean, they can't remember who told us as a player right now, but someone told us that the whole town was part of whatever deal was made, not just the people that was kept alive by it. Like this was bigger than just that. So maybe it was just maybe this town just, I don't know, like some sort of illusion or something that make us okay with whatever is happening. I don't know. Willie's dead.
what happened?
He's been dead since that day in the mine.
Oh, yeah. I think that it takes Dare a second to be like, oh God, not Will. Like, and then
Fair.
forgets the exact conversation what we're having. Like, oh, okay, shit. And then he's freaked out in a different way. Okay.
So that means someone made a deal to keep him here.
Probably his mama. I mean, That would have been 10 years ago. That would have been who done it.
Yeah.
How old is his sister? He's got a sister, doesn't he, or a brother?
Yes. How old is his sister? I know, I know that Teresa knows his sister.
Yeah, when you went to at the garlic patch, sorry, I forgot about this. Oh, my bad.
It's okay.
When you went up to the garlic patch, she wasn't there. But you did see where she had been. She might have just gone down the hill, gone back home. Probably just missed her.
Yeah. How old is she?
Yeah. Maybe 30, mid 30s at most.
Could have been either or, but I don't know. We don't know when or how or with whom this deal was made. So
And how old was Willie when the mine collapsed?
15, 16 at most.
Old enough to have a lover. Or
He
at least
would
a
be
cr-
he would
at
be
least a crush.
considered adult. Yeah, he would be considered an adult in the 20s.
yeah, I mean, either way, he'd probably have a girlfriend or something. I don't know.
All right.
I didn't. One thing I don't want to do right now is go and upset everyone in town while we still don't have enough answers. So I didn't talk to his mama, but he said his mama doesn't like him talking about that day. So, and when I
Hmm.
read his cards, came up blank. Can't read for the dead.
That ever happened with anyone else before?
Not that I remember.
All right. Well, that's one way to figure it out. How,
Terrifying
how,
way to figure it out.
and you haven't told us that it was looking through him through the stone, right? Or have you?
I think I'll say that now. Like,
Okay.
I had a feeling, and I had to make sure. And I looked through the stone. Whatever's
What do you,
around here drew closer. I don't want to do it again, but I saw him probably the way he was the day they pulled him out of that mine.
like we saw Silas with the gash?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
The way that Willie remembers it is that Owen pushed him into the elevator, sacrificed himself to save him. I don't know if that's real. Like, if places outside of here are getting one story and we're getting another, there is a curse on this place that's keeping us from knowing everything.
Oh, Mr. East, I'm sorry. That must be really hard to hear.
Honestly, it's a small blessing. It's bittersweet, but that's a little bit of a happy memory. I'd rather him remember it that way. I'd rather Owen be remembered that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can try and do readings on folks and see, but whatever's been pestering me, it's probably going to pull itself closer.
Yeah, we don't want that. Would it be, I don't know how many people come in for readings, feels like a lot. Is there maybe a smaller number of people that never have come in for readings because this has never happened before?
Well, I was actually shocked that Willie came in. In fact, I should have asked him about it, but I was. Sometimes you get news like that and you don't think. But, I mean, mostly it's, housewives, people who have the time and to come in. The miners usually don't, so
Hmm.
Well, I'd have to clear it with my employers, but we could set you up shop in the bake shop and offer people free reading with a biscuit. If you feel like doing this all day, just to
Oh,
cut through the town.
from widow to town witch.
Yeah, I don't know if my employers will go for it, but we can always ask. There's something else that I learned from Ian and Evan. They're in Toledo. That's where Jonas is said he came from, and he talked about all the great things the union was doing, which is wonderful to hear and not surprising at all. But I don't want to read too much into this, but they weren't familiar with Jonas. And if Jonas was instrumental in setting it up, I kind of wonder if maybe they would have known him. They said that maybe their wife might have known him, but
Hmm.
I don't know if that's something we need to look into or not.
I mean, I've been wanting to know more about Jonas for a while now. Wouldn't hurt to read his
Exactly.
cards.
From what I understand, Toledo's a big place, but the fact that they're so familiar with the unionization and all, and it being such a recent thing, according to Jonas, it, something deserves questions being answered.
I mean, speaking of, I have I guess maybe a couple more questions. Just decided to take a look more at the posts because I don't know, it might have some type of answer, something close up that we missed. And they're all different types of trees. I mean, like stuff that I mean, we have the pines, like couple oaks every now and then, but I'm talking about ash, hawthorn. I mean, stuff that's not here. So it was brought from somewhere, and I think whoever put those posts there had some type of message that they wanted to make known to anybody that would actually look. Um, and she just kind of goes into the different symbologies of stuff. I won't get into the weeds about it, but um, it's real strange. I think someone thinks himself very smart and poetic by putting trophies on these types of posts.
What kind was Sally's?
Ellie's was the oak.
I have to look back at the tree document.
Mm.
Hmm.
Think maybe Sally was the one who came up with the idea to make this deal.
Maybe, considering she was the first one taken out. Hmm.
I don't know what to do to stop what's happening once we find out who it's happening to.
I don't know if we can. I mean, unless we find some way from oh, what'd you call him, Applejack, to not be able to go in someplace.
Well, and was the deal made at a crossroads with Applejack?
I don't think Applejack was the one who made the deal, but I don't know that for sure. I don't know why I think that.
I mean, he wouldn't have sway over the mountain swallowing a bunch of men whole. It's some.
How many more deals is he going to rope people into?
That's his nature. Like a squirrel puts nuts in a tree. Like he's gonna round up deals.
There is a very gentle knock at your door, Teresa.
Um, get kind of dust himself off, straighten the apron, and walk to the door. Open it.
You see Marcy, sister of Willie, standing there at the door.
Well,
M-
hello.
Mama said you were looking for me.
That I was. I mean,
She said, bring you. She pulls out a bushel of wild garlic and hands it to you.
uh, thank you so much. I'll take it. And it's you can come on in. Sorry, I got other company as well. Um,
That's all right. She looks in. Mr. Dare, Miss Jasper, Miss Beatrice. Nice to see all of you.
Ma'am.
I think we have a couple things to talk about. You and I, all of us, honestly.
She gives a small nod. Is it about Willie?
Yeah, he's a good boy.
Yeah, he was. And she kind of shuffles in, sits down next to you, Dare, hands in her lap, head kind of bowed towards the table.
How long have you known?
Since I made the deal.
Who'd you make it with?
Strange sort of woman, all gray like.
She give you a name?
Not really. I just know that this gentleman folk, he didn't like it much. He thought she was treading on his territory. I think he kind of took offense to it, to be honest. But he was more concerned with other things to be too offended by it.
Where'd you see her?
Um, saw her up on the mountain. I went up to the mines because I needed something to scream at, Mistress. I was rightfully angry. That mountain stole my brother from me. It stole my livelihood with my mother from me. And she was there. She and her two sisters.
3 of them.
Do you know who else made a deal?
No, I didn't know anybody else made the deal until that apron showed up today.
I need to tell you something.
Okay.
The deal is being undone. There were 5. And it's my fault. So don't be mad at anyone but me. But the price of the deal is going to be paid. And that's what happened to Sally. And I don't know if that means death, but it's going to be paid by those who made the deal, not the people who couldn't move forward. I don't know if Willie's ever said that phrase, but it was something Silas said. Because he too was a beneficiary or a curse of the deal. So whatever happened to Sally might come after you next.
There always has to be a price, right? I don't blame you, Mr. Dare. I made the deal. You're just correcting something.
I'm sorry just the same.
Willie came by the other day, looking for a reading. And everything rejected him. Couldn't read a card, wouldn't show me anything. Sounds like he was looking to move on out. Try and find other work. The boy's soul's restless.
He wanted to go to the city. This life never suited him.
I mean, I take it he can't.
Like you said, Mr. Dare, he's unable to move on. He mentions it now and then, but I don't think he really understands what he's saying. She kind of shrugs a little, leaning forward onto the table. He was a good boy. Always treated Mama and I right. Really, really loved just gardening and knitting and making sure the quilts were right. Corrected my stitching more than once, and quite adored him for that. He was pretty good with, making homegrown medicines when we couldn't afford any. He was pretty good at finding things out in the woods when we needed something, especially from Mama's hands. Found those nettles for us. You will look after Mama, right? She looks towards all of you.
Of course.
I ain't gonna let you die. Not without a fight. I'm gonna figure out something. I don't know. Maybe cook up a talisman or something. I don't know. Um, I want to find a way to break this. I know it means the dead might move on, and that'll be a pain our town can handle. I don't want more deaths. I don't want more bloodshed.
Are you sure our town can handle that? Because 10 years ago, we could not handle shit.
What do you remember of Silas? To you, did he die yesterday or die 10 years ago?
She thinks for a moment, kind of tilting her head side to side. Yesterday for me. But from what I remember, all the funerals were private.
Do you remember anyone else besides Willie who was badly hurt that day? And then miraculously recovered?
She thinks of furthermore. Jessica's husband. Haven't seen him for a bit, but he was pretty badly hurt. Mr. Yanis, Harris, he quit the mine right after that accident, from what I remember. Well, Silas is still, well, was, I suppose now. Mr. Garrett, he was always good with everything.
Willie was talking about a doctor who was patching up folks that day.
Yeah, and that was Mr. Yanis, the man up north, Michigan area, I believe.
You know if he's still around?
Should be. I mean, he likes to drink himself at the bar every night. I have a question, if I may.
Of course.
Willie keeps talking about his beloved, but I've never seen him with anybody. You know anything about that? Can the dead love?
We've heard the word, we're not sure what it means.
And up until a couple days ago, I wasn't sure the dead could do anything but be dead.
Well, town like ours can't keep its secrets forever, I suppose. It's finally getting warmer, though. I guess spring's kind of giving away. I should get back to Mama.
If anything seems off, run here. I don't know if I can hold off whatever's coming after y'all, but this is gonna be the best place to at least try.
He nods and stands before pausing. Didn't you make that deal with Mr. Dare?
I think it's whoever was mad that you made a deal with the woman. I think that they don't like each other. I thought I was trying to save Silas, but I don't want to give you an excuse. I just, like you, I thought I was doing the right thing.
I appreciate the honesty and practicality on in all respect. I just want to know who's coming to take my name into the book, that's all.
Calling him Applejack.
Applejack. I like that.
And he says that he doesn't really have a name other than the ones that people give him. But you might see him at a crossroads.
Ah. Maybe I should have done my bargain with him.
I think I'm gonna be where you are pretty soon. So we're all on borrowed time.
She kind of gives a quiet nod. Sorry I couldn't be of more help to you, but just wanted to let you know the sum and short of it. Uh, Thank you for letting us know about Willie. Well, me about Willie. Mom is gonna lose two of us, but she's got all of you to look after her.
I'm glad you had that time with him, and I'm sorry it came at such a cost.
I'm not sorry for the cost. I've made my peace with it.
That makes one of us.
If you resist the river, Mr. Dare, you will never get where you need to go. Have a good one, folks. She gives a bow of her head and leaves the cabin quietly, shutting the door behind her.
I don't think I want to go where I need to go.
Been spending most of my life trying to fight off the bad things out there looking for you, and looks like they found us anyway.
Well, we got some names.
Mm-hmm.
We do have some names. That's something.
And maybe some more people that, well, not more people, but more things that are making deals with people.
Yeah, those three sisters.
Uh-huh. Out by the mine.
I
Any
haven't
local... Go ahead.
I haven't been out to the mine since Owen died.
I get it.
Not much reason to go over there anyways, but
Wonder if that's a place that Applejack can't go. And in theory, if that's true, if he's the one collecting these people for paying the deal, maybe that's potentially another safe place to go. In quotations.
That'll take a mindset shift for the mine to be the safest place around here.
Yeah.
Do we know anything about Three Sisters, kind of legends, local legends?
Well, if you want, you can roll a intelligence, knowledge, history, lore, magic roll. Any of you can do this. If you're looking for more specific things, I would say it would have to be lore slash history to get the full kind of specific things we're looking for, something like that.
I'll roll, but I don't have any of those things. I think Dare's very unlikely to remember something. Let's see.
You never know.
13, lucky
So
13.
you rolled higher than me and I'm trained.
Right.
Very nice.
He once read Macbeth, or once saw like part of a staged. Somebody did a monologue from Macbeth, and that's what he's thinking of. And he thinks it's a local legend. I swear, I know it.
Okay, so yeah, Dare and Teresa. Beatrice, you're so thrown off by the fact that Marcy's kind of accepted her fate,
Yeah.
whatever
Like,
role
okay.
she's has played in it. But Dare and Teresa, yeah, the Macbeth kind of sends you into a spiraling thought train, more or less, Dare. But it's more of three sisters rather than three fates. And as you're kind of thinking on this, there's something kind of twinges in your back of the mind, and stories, I would say. Old stories that kind of filtered through the mountains, especially this part. Mountains hold memories of people who brought stories in from other countries, especially Ireland and Scotland. And three sisters, as you kind of twig into this as well, Teresa, could mean many things. But I would say you would both understand that because Appalachia was settled by these Scottish and Irish travelers from lands they were forced off of, they would bring their gods with them as well. And one particular god, very angry, vicious goddess, known as Keliak, the crone mother, the maiden, the mother. She's all these things. She is young, she is middle aged, she is old, she is three things in one. She is terrifying. But she rarely appears singularly. She always appears with three. And the fact that Marcy only saw one makes you think possibly it could be a misrepresentation of whatever this woman is, mocking this goddess in some form.
Something out there trying to pretend to be something ancient and old, and Applejack, of course, jumped at the first opportunity he had to undo whatever they did. You just gave him permission. That's all you did. Whether or not you knew it, he was chomping at the bit to undo this. But
And if
there's,
these, so good.
I was just gonna say, there's stories of all kinds from the old world of crone maiden mother. It's weird that she showed up as one and insinuated sisters.
In the same way that we're not from around here, no one is really. We're all come from somewhere else.
Well, folks were here.
Right. But we brought the gods with us, or the onto his mountain.
Yeah. Stories like him, like he probably could have came into.
Yeah, but he was here before the others were.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what he thinks.
Yeah.
The disturbance of rain against your window draws you gaze to the outside. Storm has pushed in quite suddenly. It's not too atypical. It's springtime in the mountains. Storms are a natural part. It seems to draw shadows from trees. Wind is a bit too sharp and whistly and cold. It rattles your windows and home like it's trying to shake something loose. Through the trees and the shaking of the storm, you see that mountain leering at you, challenging you in its own terrible way, as if it's demanding, requesting you to come inside. And boy, does it want to be known. As you see a crack of lightning hit the side of the mountain, that initial spark, you think a forest fire might start from how bright and terrible this lightning strike is, and then you hear the all too familiar sound of a landslide. Rock shears itself down. You see the landslip push the trees. And there's another crack of lightning. And all of you see outside are 14 men staring at your house, Teresa. And in the center is Applejack. And he laughs as he spreads his hand and turns towards your house and says, "Beloved calls to you, all of you, especially you. All of you. That little house, your little protections might keep me out. And that's okay. But that mountain will claim its prize, and I am its deliverance." As the rain kind of pulls down harder, she will bring the skies to each of you, and she will know her freedom. As he kind of presses against a barrier you can't see, his hands flat against something, and he says, "I keep my promises." And he points towards you, Dare, and I take your pity. But it's not for me. And you see a softness kind of creep over his face as he steps back, and these 14 men kind of vanish beside him. And he says, "I am here to bargain. You set the terms. Let's make a deal." And he gives a bow to all of you. "If we may. So I don't want you touching my things anymore."
I want to walk out and face him. Like, I want to walk up to him.
You walk up to him and he stands up out of his bow, smooths his jacket, the rain not touching him, and he folds his hands neatly in front of his chest.
How do we undo what's happening?
"Because we are good friends, I give this one again, all you for free. You've already started the blood payment. You can't take that back. Unless you want to pay in other ways, in other forms of blood. Which is acceptable in various terms if you're clever about it, of course. But I'm desperate, I suppose." He kind of leans close, whispering it to you. It's not a nice thing to admit to somebody. But my time is for people still. And once I get what I want, I'll be gone. I swear.
I'm gonna reach in my jacket, pull out my revolver, cock it, place it in between his eyes.
He kind of tilts his head back. Do you really want to start this war, Jasper?
Dead things can't make deals, Mr. Crossroads. And I pull the trigger.
Okay. You pull that trigger. He has no armor, so it's true. How much does your revolver do damage for?
That is a fantastic question. I don't know that I actually have stats for it.
Good.
It would be there's a list of types of weapons, I believe, and it would be one of those types, like light, range weapon, I believe.
I think it's medium.
Oh, it's medium.
Okay,
If it's
like
a
medium
m-
should do 4, I think.
Yeah, medium
Right.
does 4. Yep. All right.
I remember things.
I have to do math. 1 second. You're making me do math. It's fine.
I know
So
math is terrible.
math is terrible.
The worst part.
The worst part of games. So you pull that trigger and you hit him square in the head, and it bores through his head, and he kind of blinks, smears his hand across his head, and the hole is gone. And he says, "You gave you the impression I was dead. I'm very much alive, and you broke coven." As he steps forward across the barrier that Teresa has put in place. "I only honored the old deals because I liked each and every one of you, and you broke coven, Jasper," as he pokes you in the chest. "Blood deals don't forget things, and you've shot me. How dare you?"
Yet here you stand.
Here I stand, but I wonder, as he leans close and looks towards the house, "I don't need to hurt you." As he steps past you, making a beeline towards the door. "I don't need to hurt any of you. In fact, what I want is that witch."
I am going to. Oh, I have an ability called Ribbons of Darkness. It says 2 intellect points. For the next minute's darkness condensed within an area within long range that is no bigger than the immediate distance in diameter. Don't know what any of this means. Manifesting as swirling ribbons. All tasks attempted by creatures in the area are hindered, and leaving the area requires the creature's entire action to move. You can dismiss the darkness as an action.
Okay. You do that, and darkness kind of pours out, surrounding you, Dare, Beatrice, the house, and engulfs the Crossroads Man and you, Jasper. And you just hear Crossroads Man just say, "Oh, that is shit." As he kind of grumbles quietly, the anger that was in his voice is now replaced by this annoyance that he's been stopped. And he kind of you hear him kind of shuffle back away from the door. And he kind of grumbles and says, "You know what? She's right. I was acting out of anger. I'm a reasonable man and I make deals. I don't act this way." "Thank you for reminding me of that, Teresa. My darker nature part of me came out, and I should remind myself I do have coven still with Mr. Dare."
We don't need your thanks, and we don't need your words. We just need you gone.
"Then let me do my job."
This is my
Yeah.
house. And you have crossed the line that I set. It's bad enough you took my flower beds. It's bad enough you took Silas. It's bad enough you took Sally. Get out of here.
get the wrong impression of me, Miss Teresa. I'd take your flower beds. I'd take Silas. I took Sally, I admit to that. But Silas was already dead. The dead takes their dead. You talk to that gray woman if you want your Silas. As for your flower beds, time took your flower beds. As it is almost summer, those are spring flowers, Miss Teresa. Do not accuse me of things I didn't do. He sounds genuinely annoyed by being accused of something he didn't do.
Devils and company men dealing in details.
You just hear him say, I'm not a devil. I don't know how many times I have to tell you this. You hear the door kind of bang open as he kind of slaps it. You don't see him lean in, but he just says, I'm not a devil. How dare you? First your man shoots me, now you're calling me a devil. He turns around and grumbles and leaves, goes, you feel him, Jasper, brush past you, and he steps out of the darkness, smooths his jacket once more, and he kind of calms himself. I've coven with Mr. Dare. That's all I need. I don't need to act in anger. He seems to be talking himself out of what he was going to do. But do not, he turns back to the house, do not accuse me of killing your flowers. I am affronted by that. He kind of pauses, looks through your flower beds, snaps his fingers, and there's just a whole line of bushel of flowers growing like mad all over. There, that one's for free, mostly because I'm angry. Think I kill flowers? I am of the green. Thank you.
I'm mad. Have some flowers.
Do not accuse me of being devil. Don't accuse me of killing flowers. I do not take your stars. He kind of marches down the path, still quite angry about all of this. And then he comes back and stands at the border. Your man owes me, he shouts at all of you. Deal? I don't care how it's paid. He owes me. He shot me. He injured me. I want payment. And he turns around back down the path, grumbling, still mad flowers kind of following him as he leaves.
Never quite expected a elevated being to throw a tantrum like that.
Or does take flowers seriously.
Teresa is gonna run up to Jasper. First, hug you, and then impotently slap your chest and say, why the hell did you do that?
Had to find out if he could die. There's not a like slick way to test if somebody can die.
Just glad he didn't take you.
Sorry. I'll give you a hug.
Give a hug. You just hear him come back. And another thing.
Get.
He looks like, oh, you're having a moment. I'm so sorry. Kind of stares at you for a moment, then turns around. I won't take anybody tonight if that helps. Give you more time. Walks away.
I officially have no idea what the hell we're dealing with here. I can't make heads or tails out of this dude. Apparently we can't shoot him to death. I do have a really big axe. I could try to decapitate him next time.
I don't know if that'll work. Honestly, with the way he's acting, it reminds me of stories of fair folk. But petty, vicious, fickle. But at least whatever the hell you did brought us peace tonight.
both of you.
Yeah, you mean what you did, Miss Teresa? That was quite the magic trick.
What what did I sorry. Uh I didn't I didn't know I could honestly do that.
Well, all the same, I think it saved our skin.
She just kind of looks over her shoulder like she's looking for someone who's always out of her periphery.
Yeah, you see a solid form. Boy, does it wear the face of Owen well. And that's what we'll end tonight.
Oh, rude.
Yes, so good. Oh my god.
Oh, we're
You,
so
everyone.
back.
So, we're so back making a few notes here. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. As we close out today, I am Jen. I was your storyteller for today, are the old gods of Appalachia. And please join us sometime next week as we go back into this wonderful little horror story as we start to unravel the mystery of Timber and find out who's dead. As we close out, let's start at the top of the order and let's remind everybody who we have here. Alex, take it away.
Hey, thank you for joining us, and thank you for having me. I've been Alex. I publish and perform as Lex Wilson. I'm Alexotica on Blue Sky, lexwilson.bsky.social on Blue Sky. Something to promote this Saturday, I begin another streaming adventure playing Heart, the City Beneath TTRPG with Girls Run These Worlds. Yes, it's another horror campaign, and yes, I am capable of being afraid of more than one thing. So tune in for the next, I think it's 5 Saturdays where anything can happen except for me running those worlds because I don't know if you know this, but girls run these worlds.
Art is
Very,
so fun. You're gonna love it.
Oh, cool.
it's great. Next up, we have Mal.
Hi folks. I'm Mal, aka Archangelic. I can be found here running Era of the Dragons on Sunday nights and Tuesday nights running Girl by Moonlight. You can find me on Twitter as Archangelic, Blue Sky as archangelic.space. Um, just as a heads up, we're gonna go after everyone does their outros, we're gonna go into our after show, and that'll be available on our Patreon, patreon.com/lanternlightadventures.
Thank you very much. Heck.
Hey everybody, it's me, Sir Heckalot. I'm here, I'm on your screen, and that's just my catchphrase I use for intros and outros all the time. You can find me all over the internet at Sir Heckalot, including Twitch, Itch, I guess Twitter as long as supplies last, Blue Sky, etc., etc. It's the best place to figure out where I'm going to be in the TTRPG space next because I tend to wander a lot, do a lot of things, wear a lot of hats, and things are a little weird with my schedule now because of a couple of my veterinary rotations that are happening. I also talk about those on socials if you want to hear about the kind of cool stuff that I'm doing with my career. But just kind of a window into where I am in the TTRPG space and stream wise. You can find me on Neon Lights Roleplay every other Monday playing an Oathsworn Odyssey of the Dragon Lords. It's a Greek myth style 5e campaign, and we've been playing for a couple of years now. It's been really fun. You can catch me every other Tuesday over on Enchanting Sorcery with Into the Old Margrave. We're finally back. We've been on a long hiatus, but season 2 will be back. Where we're playing Into the Woods style stuff. So it's really fun. And then there might be whispers of a Rime of the Frostmaiden campaign coming back on Neon Lights, but we'll see. So stay tuned. But yeah, that's me.
Thank you very much. And Soliloquy.
Hey, I am Siliqui Jaden. I was Jasper and shockingly get to continue being Jasper, at least for tonight. You can find me everywhere online as Fat Sapphic Bro. I mostly hang out on TikTok and make a variety of content. Feel free to come hang out with me. As for streaming, I'm here on Twitch most Sundays, 7:30 to 9:30 p.m., most Mondays, 5 to 7 p.m., most Tuesdays, 6 to 9 p.m., and most Wednesdays, 2 to 5 p.m., all PST. Thanks for hanging out with us.
I would like to say thank you for coming out to join us tonight as we spin this tale of yarn for everybody to hear and listen to. I'm Jen, and you can find me here on Twitter. I guess it's called X, whatever. And I'll be popping about here and there, so look to the future to see what I have up next. Thank you once again, and have a good night.
Hey, y'all.